hi guys, thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it. So Charles and Michael, and you guys are from Film Toledo, correct?
We are Film Toledo.
We are Film Toledo.
You are. It's all right here.
Well, we have a board too.
Yeah.
They're pretty awesome. But like right now, we're just kind of taking on most of it ourselves. Because like we're still building and waiting for spring. Because then we're going to have a lot more stuff going on. Like we were kind of talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, we basically run like the day-to-day operations. So I'm the executive director. He's the networking coordinator. We get things done.
So can you give us some history about kind of like your beginnings, where it started, your passions when it comes to film?
I can start. I've been interested in film my whole life. Became an independent filmmaker. Started out with YouTube videos and, short skits with myself in front of the camera. And then this guy came along.
Yeah, and annoyed him so much that he started putting me in his films.
Well, it was nice to have somebody in front of the camera besides myself. And I'm a lot more comfortable behind the camera. So that way, it was like a really good partnership. And then along the way, we started really getting interested in the business of film around here, trying to build up the film community. And Film Toledo came along. We had a lot of different people involved. And now we have a really great group of people who are trying to make big things happen.
Yeah, ever since the pandemic's kind of been winding down, like we've just been picking up crazy momentum. We've been partnering with businesses. We've been making connections with the other film commissions in Ohio. We have like a huge list of different people with talent and different set positions and producers, and we've just kind of been all over the place lately. Just meeting a lot of people. It's awesome.
So what is so you said, so you do the act, do you do any directing as well?
So I don't really do like a lot of the directing, but
Okay.
I do primarily acting, and
Okay.
I'll also do like some on-set positions as well.
Okay.
Yeah, that's one thing in independent film, and especially around here where it's a small community. If you want to make a film around here, you have to wear a lot of hats.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody is a director, writer, editor, producer, visual effects artist, actor, all of the above.
Well, and depending on how much money you have.
Right.
Film can get very expensive. Like if you're making an independent film and you have hundreds of thousands of dollars, you may not have to wear all those hats.
Right.
But for most people who, they're starting a low budget film and trying to put something on, they may have to wear a lot of hats or get a lot of volunteer help or, basically whatever you can work with.
And one of our jobs with Film Toledo is we're trying to boost the local economy. So we're trying to bring in, more of those higher paying jobs and more jobs, more steady work, even if it involves a lot of travel around the state or the region. We can, get people together to build that kind of community.
And on top of like connecting people up locally with other people that they should be connected up with, and just kind of connecting the film community in general, because a lot of it's kind of like spread out, where it's like these people don't know about these people and these people don't know about these people, and so by having like kind of like a centralized like event like our film mixers, it's like we're giving people an opportunity to connect with people that they usually wouldn't, or that maybe they've never met or didn't know about before. And I think overall that increases like not just the local film scene, but the quality of work overall.
Mm-hmm. That's always something, I guess, in any industry or any type of, business, or is just that it's always amazing to me that there's just people just operate so often in their own silos, and just the importance of being able to network and connect and to build those bridges. And I did want to talk a little bit about, because you guys have been super instrumental in the Community Film Fest, and also been doing, so I got to hang out with you guys at the Synergy Conference.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was a great conference.
Totally sober.
Oh yeah, we were all sober.
Yeah, there was no excessive drinking.
I can't believe you didn't trick the Knights of the Templar into giving me free beer.
Didn't
happen.
there were a lot of very interesting different groups there. That was, after a few drinks, I was just like, oh, who are those people? So you did at the Synergy Conference, which for people who don't know about it, you should know about it. It's an amazing conference for a lot of advocates, self-advocates, people with disabilities get together, do the networking, build community, find people, find interests, and then there's different sessions, and some are, more kind of like advocacy focused, and some are just like build yourself up, learn new skills type focus. And so you guys did an improv. You did an improv, and did you two improvs, or you did an improv and something else?
So we did two of the conferences we did were, one of them was about community. I think Lisa Combs mostly led that one, but we were still like involved because of what we've done for community. And she always wants me to talk about stuff. So that always works too. And then we ended up doing the improv workshop, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And the third one we did was about social media safety.
Yes.
So it was kind of related because a lot of people that want to get into film and are promoting themselves, there are so many scams, so many, it's very predatory out there.
And
so it was really good.
And the whole thing with a lot of people with disabilities may not know like a lot of those dangers, or they weren't taught those kinds of things. And so when you start getting into the public eye like that, you have to stay safe and watch out for scammers. I constantly get scam calls because I just put myself out all over the place.
Right.
I'm to the point where I just mess with them now. People call me or message me, and they try to act all real, and then eventually I just mess with them to the point where it's like, oh, I'm from Alderaan, and they're like, oh, well, where's that? And I was just like, oh, well, it's over across like the ocean, and they don't even care because they just want your information. Everything is supplemental.
Yeah.
But then later, one guy was asking me, oh, hey, what do you look like? And I was like, oh, I'll send you a picture. I sent him a picture of Danny DeVito, and didn't question it at all. And then like way later in the conversation, he's like, wait, who is this? And I was like, that was an hour ago, man.
You gotta send him a picture of Danny DeVito and then a picture of Arnold Schwarzenegger. The twins.
My twin.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Actually, it's funny. I was about to watch that movie the other night.
Oh my gosh.
Because I saw it on a streaming platform, and I was like, oh, yeah, I want to watch that.
I think that would be one of the best Halloween costumes for like a really tall person and a really short person. And I'm actively taking applications for for someone to do this with me, because I think it would be the best.
Anybody out there looks like Danny DeVito, give us a call.
Well, I want to be Danny DeVito, I'm sure, like with a ball cap, and I think that would be so much fun. I'm not one of those people, like I like to dress ugly at Halloween.
Well, if you're looking for Arnold Schwarzenegger, you can just go to the gym. You'll find somebody.
There you go. I need you, sir.
You're a large
Just
man.
walk up to a stranger at the gym. Yeah, that's
Definitely not a con, though, right? Seriously. Maybe they'll learn some things about internet safety, and I'll learn how to con better. Although I got you guys here with very limited information because I'm terrible at sharing information. So it worked. All right. Yes. Feel good about that. So just going back a little bit to like Community Film Fest. So I had participated in Community Film Fest, never watched that. It's the worst. It was very terribly put together because I didn't have time to do it. And I recorded like audio in my car on my iPhone, and it was so bad. Anyways, so something that you guys did was kind of came along and were able to work with people, and you got other local film, what's the right term? I was going to say film people. Is that right?
We got local film professionals.
Film professionals. I'm sorry. So yeah, you got local film professionals. You came in and just like helped supported people, and it was really, really cool because I think I think that it's such a really cool thing, especially for people who are often looked over, right, for their creativity or creative ability to be able to like bring their vision to life. And so how did that experience kind of like affect you? And what were kind of the outcomes? Like, obviously you've continued to do it. It's something that, you guys still have put a lot of energy in, and that they pushed it back this year, right? It's in
August.
August. Okay. Yes, look at me knowing something.
You have some information.
Look at me having information. I love it when that happens. But yeah, so what are some key takeaways? And had you ever really had much experience? This is the longest question ever.
Is this a question?
Part one of three.
Yes, it is. I swear. I told you I'm really good at the rambling. But had you had any interaction with like people with disabilities or the disability field before? Or was this kind of like an intro, and how is that really?
Well,
so it actually you kind of started before I did. You got involved before.
Yeah. So at my old job, I ended up meeting a girl named Emily Farron, and she found out that I did film and acting and asked if I wanted to be the judge for the community film festival. I think it was, at the time, it was only like their second year doing it. So I was like, yeah, like, sure, like, I'll do that. And so she brought this big, like, manila envelope packet with all the films and packets in it. And I took it home, I watched them all. And then when we went to community, I met with Lisa Combs, and we kind of talked for a bit. And everything ended up going so well that, you know, she invited me back the next year. And the next year we had started Film Toledo. And so I talked to him, Michael here, and I also talked to Lisa. I said, hey, you know, we know a whole lot of film professionals in this area. What would you think about us, like, pairing up some of the entries with professional filmmakers? And she goes, that would be absolutely amazing. She's like, I'm a social worker. I don't know anything about editing. She's like, that would be so fantastic. And it actually let us have more films in the Community Film Festival, because it's not just one or two people editing all the films.
Right.
And so since it was such a success, we just kind of kept going with it every year. And every year we get more and more filmmakers involved and people who want to volunteer their time. And, you know, and it's good for everybody. Like, you know, the people who are entering the Community Film Festival, they get to up the quality of their films, and the people get some, that are helping, they get some kind of work, and, you know, they get to basically, you know, do something really amazing. And it's really kind of like working with a client, where it's like, you know, I've met so many people who have, like, great ideas in the special, like, developmental disability world. I've met people with really, really great ideas, but sometimes it takes a lot to get those ideas to life, especially if they're, like, you know, big special effects or something that, you know, you think I can't even do. You know, like, I don't do CGI editing or anything like that. That's a little beyond my patience level. But that was kind of like my introduction into, like, the special needs community. But my son is also on the spectrum.
Okay.
And so, you know, I kind of didn't have a choice but to, like, you know, learn as much as I could, because it's like, you have to, like,
Yeah.
you know, I didn't want to just be sitting in the dark, like, oh, well, what do I do? What do I do with this? What do I do with this? And the longer, like, the older he gets and the more things we do together, like, the further I get into that field, to the point where now I'm a DSP. And it's not something I ever thought that I would do, but once I started getting involved in the community, I was like, this is pretty great. Like, this is definitely up my alley. It's something I enjoy doing.
Yeah.
You got to bring him up on stage last year.
Oh yeah, my son came up on stage last year.
Aww.
And he said hi to everybody, and then said Mario, and then walked off the stage.
Hello, and Mario. I like it.
Yeah.
Shorten to the point.
Well, I think, like, that's kind of how I started out too, because I really didn't have any experience with, you know, like, that kind of world. And once, you know, Charles got me into that, I said, this is perfect for what we're trying to do. It's something for a good cause. It's, you know, it's great for the whole community, and then getting, you know, other filmmakers involved to, you know, showcase what they can do.
Yeah.
It worked out really well.
Well, because there are a lot of local filmmakers who are still trying to make a name for themselves as well. So this is a good opportunity to get their name out there. It's a good opportunity to, like, do something meaningful for the community, because this film festival, I think, is great, because it really does its job. It promotes inclusion, and, like, not just inclusion, but it, like, you know, working together. Like, it's one thing to, like, have somebody included, but it's another thing to actually work together and, like, have a common goal together. And I think that, you know, it definitely adds a lot of value.
And it also helps because these are people in most cases that have, you know, such a strong imagination and an idea of what they want to do and what they want to express. And sometimes they're not able to do that. And in this case, you know, if there's they have some wild idea, we can help bring that to life. So if it's visual effects or editing, or, you know, if it's animation, you know, we've had animation, we've had, you know, superhero films, we've had
cat pirates,
and music videos, and, you know, however you want to express yourself, we can help out with that.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think it's also just an amazing form of communication, right? Like, a lot of people, that is a major thing. Like, the studies that have come out is just, like, one of the number one barriers to access to a community isn't I mean, transportation is huge, but it isn't transportation, it isn't housing, all these things. It's actually typical people not knowing or being afraid of interacting with people with disabilities. And when you just think about that, like, that's just like human connection. And so to be able to find different ways to show that, I mean, it seems like film and storytelling and all that stuff is such an amazing way to get that kind of point across and all that good stuff.
And it is a form of like communication too. You know, a lot of people struggle to communicate, and by doing it through a film, you know, it's storytelling. So it's really interesting, like, you know, because some people really can't advocate for themselves like directly, and so, you know, we do kind of a similar thing that they do when they're matching up for DSPs. Is, you know, we get the film professional and we get whoever wants to work with a film professional, and we kind of pair them up and see how they get along and if we think it's a good match.
They have like similar interests, and that also, you know, speaking of connection, that's also the, you know, their families get involved, their providers get involved, and it creates a stronger connection with them because, you know, everybody's working together to make a film. Yeah, it's such a collaborative effort, and it just strengthens those connections.
Well, and even like on, you know, other film sets, like outside of community, when you're working together like that, you start to become like a little family. You know, you're spending all this time together, you all have a common goal, and ultimately everybody just wants to get this film finished. And I think that's another reason why community is great for that, is because you do have very close bonds when you're making a film together, way closer than a lot of other activities you could be doing, except maybe like sports. But even then, sports, like, you're working together to win the game. Yeah. But then it's over. Yeah. You know, but with film, you may be working on a film for like 2-3 months. So that's a lot longer and a lot stronger bond, in my opinion.
I mean, in this case, because it's people coming up with, you know, short films where it's like a 5-minute limit, it's not too much of a...
Well, I was talking about film in general.
What I was saying for the Community Film Fest, it's something where it's, you know, people that just want to kind of dabble in it and see what they can do, and then they discover they love it. And then we have people who have, you know, submitted films year after year after year, and watching them grow and improve and get better, and then working with professionals and really realizing their visions.
And even watching some of the professionals get better and better. You know, because everyone's always trying to improve. They're always trying to up their game. And, you know, some people are farther along or have like more resources than others do. But ultimately, in terms of like storytelling, you know, we're talking about even getting like Bowling Green students involved, because, you know, I'm judging their film festival right now.
Right.
I have like 40 more films to watch in a few days.
Oh, great.
They're not that long, and I only have to write like 10 sentences about each one. But I've actually been getting more involved with them lately. I was at BG On Screen. Yeah. It's BG On Screen. I actually just saw them this past Friday, and they're all about, you know, helping out wherever they can, and they have to get some like intern credits in order to graduate. And so events like this are also a great way for them to get, you know, credits. And so I think that's kind of one of like the ways that we might move with this, is we're still going to have all the regular professionals who want to volunteer and help out, but then we'll also have students who are helping out and actually getting credit for it. And I think it's good to get students involved, so that they can get more comfortable in the special needs community. Because I've noticed that it's a lot of younger people that are kind of uncomfortable or don't have a lot of experience with people in the special needs community. And I have also noticed that some younger people are more aware because of social media and because of, you know, events like community promoting inclusion and talking about it. I think talking about like developmental disabilities is a huge thing, because awareness is very, very important. And I think that's kind of a turning point with the special needs community. Is, you know, my sister, when she was 8 years old, you know, she was learning about that kind of stuff. And then when my son was born, people around me, you know, started learning about that stuff. And the information is so readily available now that, you know, it makes me happy. Yeah. Like, it really does. You know, not have no, like, you know, explain my son to somebody every
Right.
single time they meet him. Like they just know, they understand. And
There's a lot less of the stigma around it.
yeah, definitely.
Well, and I think like, so I'm a huge trauma-informed, trauma-responsive care nerd. So like, if you ever need to be bored to death, I find it fascinating. But
I don't think it's boring.
I'm the chick at the bar, you know, at 2 a.m. saying, "But did you know?" Like with drinks, and some poor soul is like, "Why are we talking about trauma right now?" You know.
I think that's a parent thing, though, because before I had kids, I wasn't like that. But now it's like, you know, if I'm at the bar at 2 a.m., I'm probably giving somebody some kind of advice and talking about being a parent.
Yeah.
You know, especially over the pandemic. I actually lost my jobs to the pandemic, and so I spent the entire time with my son. I got to have actual quality time with him. I got to be heavily involved in his psychological development, in, you know, his therapies, his school, and I actually had the time to sit in on his therapies and assist with them. And before that, I hadn't had as much time with him. And so being able to be there for him and being able to help him grow and develop and kind of, you know, be an active part of that, I think helped him a lot too.
Oh yeah.
You know, and it's something that a lot of parents don't get to do. So, I don't know, I just felt like bringing that up.
No, it's great.
I thought it was a really great experience. I got to really learn a lot about autism that way too, because beforehand I was reading books and like watching videos and talking to people about autism, because I really didn't have a ton of experience with it beforehand. But the pandemic totally turned that around.
Yeah.
And I also, one of the reasons why I became a DSP is because Lisa Combs told me that I've already been doing it for 2 years.
By the way, you're already doing this.
She's like, yeah, you know what you do with your son? Like, you take him places and you like hang out. She's like, that's basically like what a DSP does.
Yeah.
Like, you should probably do that.
We just need to put Lisa in charge of like all recruitment efforts. All. By the way,
Well,
she is. We're all big Lisa fans.
Well, she is for, you know, community and like the special needs community, like we are to film. We're connecting all these people together. And I know she does that a lot.
Yes, absolutely.
Should we pick on her a bit? Is she gonna hear this?
I don't. You know, she's.
We'll make
very-
sure she sees it.
Yeah, I'll send it to her.
So we'll say some mean things about her too, because we don't want her head to get too big.
She talks a lot.
So much.
Really scatterbrained. She just kind of goes off in different
Have you
directions.
seen her web browser? Oh my god.
Oh, I would not be able to look at it. I cannot.
She had like 30 tabs open. I wanted to-
I was out there dying. he can
Don't
give
cut
us
this
some.
part out.
He can give us some dirt
We should
later.
get him in on.
I know, like,
anything to say?
At the end, we'll just pick on your mom for like an hour. No. But like what I was saying though, it is that awareness though, right? Like so in trauma informed care and all this stuff, there's a lot of focus on the healing that takes place in the storytelling, and that is such, I know for me personally, a lot. I mean, I've been through it with my daughter. We've been through just thick and thin, you know. I've seen her turn blue. I've witnessed, I've had to hold her down, like a 9-year-old kid had to hold her down because 4 grown adults couldn't, so to try and get an IV. And, you know, like we've been through so much. And I know a big part of my journey has been finding that healing. And while I don't necessarily do it, you know, through, well, I mean, I would say it's semi-creative, but like, you know, I have a presentation I do and I go and I speak and I tell my story and I choose to tell my story, right? So it's not like this forceful, tell me everything about, you know, it's like, this is my choice and I'm choosing to share this with you in hopes that, you know, it helps someone, right? Or there can be more understanding and more community building and more awareness. And so I think that when you talk about film and sharing the story, like it's just another avenue of doing that, and the empowerment and the healing and the good things that come from that are really just so vital. So I just think anyone, you know, not anyone, but like I think that is like such a good option for people to be able to do that and to express that. And even if it is like something fictional, right? Like you always pour something. I'm a big believer that there's always something of you, right, in what you create and all that stuff.
Film is therapy.
Yeah.
Acting is, bearing your soul and taking all that trauma and
getting to be somebody else for a little bit.
And that's the great thing about the films that we've seen over the years with Community is people telling their stories. It's very personal, it's very emotional, and just being able to share that with an audience, and not just keeping that to yourself is really powerful.
Well, because essentially, like, a lot of it is kind of like a documentary or like an informative piece about their certain disability and what they struggle with and like what kind of assistance they need, what a day in their life looks like. A lot of people have no idea what that's like. Like no one knows what it's like to have autism or PWS unless you actually have those things.
Yep. Yeah, I think it's really.
I think I really appreciate. I feel over the last few years that we're seeing a lot more media, right, in the disability field, and it's needed, right? We've needed that for ages, right? And so it's finally like picking up, and it's finally moving in that way, and it's been really, really exciting. And I know that I've really appreciated a lot of the stuff that I've seen everyone put out.
Oh yeah.
Funny story that is related to Film Toledo, but not the Film Fest at all. So was it like 3 years ago? I went with Lisa on a very, very snowy February night where I thought I was going to die to
Shorts in January.
Well, that would be in January.
Yeah.
Okay, it was in January, not February.
Are you talking about the time that it was like a level 2 or 3?
Yes.
storm?
Yeah. Yes.
And we still had a crowd show.
We still had.
I was there, but let me tell you a story. I was pregnant and I ate so much of the darn popcorn from Mommy Theater.
Did you get the big bucket?
Yeah. I threw up for 24 hours.
Oh my God.
And that's what and all the films were great, but that's what I think about when I think about that night is that I made myself completely ill
So
on
you're saying
popcorn and almost died.
Shorts in January traumatized you.
The popcorn
It's okay. We're never doing that again.
We're gonna name it something else.
Well, no more wintertime film events. We learned that very quickly.
Yeah, it gets hard to predict like Ohio weather in general, especially in the winter.
This summer you'll get a like torrential downpour tornado.
Well,
Did you use the popcorn bucket to
I did not.
the popcorn back,
No.
so to say?
I have never been sicker in my life. It was awful. I was like,
Well, it is
why?
funny though. It's one of the reasons why we wound up moving the Community Film Fest. So now the last couple of years it's been the summer film fest. We're doing that in August because the weather is so unpredictable. Even trying to kind of coordinate with like Oscar season just kind of didn't work out too well.
But on top of the fact that we had already talked about how transportation can sometimes be an issue.
Yeah.
If it's a level 2 or 3 snow emergency, transportation will definitely be an issue. So having Community in the winter just doesn't seem like it would be a very great idea.
Yeah, no, that's really.
Plus, summer's more fun.
Yeah.
Last year I dressed up in my summer stuff for the theme, and nobody else did.
Yeah, they didn't get the memo, but this year it's happening. Everybody is dressing in their beachwear.
Except
Nice.
me. I already did that last year.
Oh, so you're not wearing the Speedos
Not this time.
for beachwear? Okay, all right.
It's going to be the Borat one that goes up over your
No, last year I dressed up. I had like a red velour suit, so I looked like a red carpet.
Nice.
And I was actually hosting it last year, so I wore all my like swim trunks, and I had like 3 different hats that I switched into, and everyone was just like, "Oh, was this themed?" I'm like, it was supposed to be.
I have been
There was
going
an
with the
email,
theme.
It's like, how am I the one on the ball right now?
That's how I feel anytime. Like, I'm like, listen, if I'm the one that got something right, you all have some serious issues you need to address because I am not the one that has it
It was
together.
in the memo.
Did you read the memo? Oh, well, that's awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. This was so much fun. And do you guys have any, I don't know when we're actually putting this out, but if you have anything like, your website, anything's coming up, hopefully we get it out before the Community Film Fest.
Well, we can talk in general.
We have a
We have
lot,
a
Yeah,
lot
because
of
we have a
events
lot
coming up.
I stalk you on social media.
Oh, I know. You like everything.
That's pretty.
I know.
Well, the great thing is, so a lot of the events that we have are actually, at the same day every month. So it's every third Thursday of the month. We're doing events partnered with the Toledo Lucas County Public Library. It's, different film-related topics we go over. Sometimes with special guests. The Glass City Screenwriters Group meets up every third Saturday of the month. We're going to be on. Well, you're going to be on TV pretty much. Second Friday of the month.
We're on Channel 24 the second Friday of every month to do our Film Friday segment
For what's going on.
For what's going on in Toledo film.
Very cool.
We finally have enough going on that we can go on once.
No, there's something going on. That's great.
Like, there's always something going on every month. Like, you should see my calendar.
I just updated mine. It's full.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
And then we keep, I try to keep everybody updated about the different film events, and go on filmtoledo.com and everything is on there.
Filmtoledo.com.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, you guys. I appreciate you coming on with very limited information.
Yeah, improv is my specialty. Yes. I'll do it again anytime.
And I love talking.
In private, in a small space.
Not in front of a million people.
That's his job.
Yeah, that's why I'm the networking coordinator.
That is I love talking to people, and I felt like I had a week last week where it was just so people heavy. I was doing all this traveling, and then last night I had a quiet moment, and I was like, oh, this is amazing. I'm I just have to recharge for just a second. So
I need a whole day.
Yeah, I like to go, but I definitely get to the point where I'm just okay.
I get all charged up when I'm around people and interacting. Sometimes, I'll go to an event, and my whole job is to meet people and to network. And afterwards, I actually get so amped up, I have trouble sleeping. So I have a totally opposite problem.
That's why we make such a good team.
Yeah, my brain is wired backwards.
Well, thanks again. I appreciate it, and we'll have to stay updated on all the happenings. So if you guys have any cool, awesome, wonderful things that you ever want to come talk about in the future, definitely let me know.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.